She stopped arguing. She stopped explaining. She stopped trying to be understood. And that's when everything changed. Because when a woman chooses solitude over fake love, she becomes the calm before every storm, the kind of calm that terrifies those who once took her for granted. This isn't weakness. It's transformation. It's the moment she realizes that peace is louder than any apology and silence is stronger than any empty promise. In this video, we're diving deep into the dangerous beauty of a woman who no longer needs validation, who chooses peace over drama, and who walks away not because she's cold, but because she's finally awake. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why solitude isn't loneliness, it's power. You can never just be friends with someone you've fallen in love with. That line carries a truth so sharp it cuts deep. Because once your heart has known real love, pretending it never happened becomes impossible. You can smile, you can move on, you can even convince the world that you're fine, but inside, something changes forever. This quote isn't about weakness. It's about the human heart's honesty. When you've shared your soul with someone, your laughter, your silence, your dreams, it's not easy to switch off those feelings and act like nothing mattered. For a woman, especially one who loves deeply, this truth hits harder than most people realize. She gives not just affection, but energy, time, and pieces of her soul. And when that love turns out to be one-sided, fake, or unappreciated, something powerful awakens inside her. It's not bitterness, it's awareness. Awareness that pretending to stay in a friendship with someone who betrayed her love is just another way of losing herself. In life, some people will test your limits under the disguise of love. They'll say they care, but their actions will whisper otherwise. And when that illusion finally breaks, you're left standing in a silence that feels both painful and peaceful. That silence is where transformation begins. Because when a woman finally decides she'd rather be alone than half loved, she steps into her power. Think about the times you've seen someone try to stay friends with the person who broke their heart. They tell themselves it's maturity. They tell themselves they're strong enough. But every message, every call, every memory reopens the wound. Healing can't begin when the past keeps texting. Hey, sometimes peace requires complete distance. Sometimes strength means choosing solitude over confusion. In his life, Tupac understood this kind of emotional contradiction. He gave his loyalty, his honesty, and his energy to people who couldn't handle his depth. He wrote about betrayal and love not because he was broken, but because he felt deeply, and feeling deeply is dangerous in a world that glorifies pretending. That pain became his teacher. It taught him that real love doesn't demand you shrink yourself. It doesn't make you question your worth. So when you've been hurt, when someone who claims to love you leaves you empty, don't try to fit back into the same space you've outgrown. Your silence is your power. Your distance is your healing. Realize that the woman who once needed someone's attention now thrives on her own energy. She doesn't chase anymore. She attracts peace, purpose, and strength. For today's generation, this message couldn't be more relevant. We live in an era where fake love is dressed up as connection, where validation comes in likes and messages that mean nothing. But the truth remains timeless. You can't heal in the same place you were hurt. Walking away isn't losing, it's choosing yourself. When a woman learns to protect her energy, instead of begging to be understood, she becomes unstoppable. She doesn't waste her power trying to fix people who broke her. She builds herself instead. She learns that solitude isn't loneliness, it's her rebirth. So if you've ever loved someone who couldn't love you back, take a deep breath and let go, not for revenge, but for your peace. One day you'll look back and thank yourself for walking away. Because pretending to be friends with someone who didn't see your value only delays the moment you finally do. Peace doesn't come from getting someone back. It comes from never going back. And that's when you'll realize the calm you found alone is more powerful than any love that once left you broken. I'd rather be alone than surrounded by fake love. There's a quiet kind of strength in that statement. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. It's not about arrogance or isolation. It's about self-respect. When someone chooses solitude over shallow company, it's because they've finally learned that peace of mind is worth more than pretending to belong. This quote isn't just about being alone. It's about realizing your worth in a world that constantly asks you to settle for less. Most people fear being alone because they confuse solitude with loneliness. But there's a big difference. Loneliness is when you crave others to fill your emptiness. Solitude is when you find fulfillment within yourself. When a woman chooses to walk alone rather than surround herself with fake love, she's not weak. She's awakening. She's discovering that the silence of solitude often speaks louder than the noise of false affection. Tupac's life carried this truth in every phase. He had crowds around him, fame, attention, people calling themselves friends. But when things got dark, he saw who really stood by him. The noise faded and the silence revealed reality. That's the moment every strong soul faces, realizing that some people love your light, but not your struggle. Some want your energy, not your truth. And when that realization hits, solitude becomes sacred. Imagine a woman who once poured her love, time, and energy into people who only showed up when it benefited them. She gave everything: support, loyalty, understanding, and got back silence when she needed them most. One day, she stops chasing. She stops explaining. She starts sitting alone, not because she has no one, but because she's tired of being surrounded by people who never truly saw her. That's when something shifts. Alone, she finds herself again. She rediscovers her purpose, her peace, her power. She starts reading more, praying more, building more. Her mornings become quieter but lighter. Her nights become calmer but deeper. And the same people who once ignored her presence start missing her energy. Because it's only when you remove yourself that others realize your worth. Choosing solitude is an act of emotional maturity. It's saying, I'm done begging for love that costs me my peace. In today's world, where attention is currency and loyalty is rare, this lesson is more powerful than ever. Fake love might look warm, but it drains you. It fills your days with doubt and your nights with confusion. Real peace begins the day you walk away from anything that demands you abandon yourself. And this message isn't just for women. It's for anyone who has ever been taken for granted. The moment you stop chasing fake validation, the universe starts aligning you with real connections. Your energy becomes magnetic. Your silence speaks volumes. In Tupac's poetry and reflections, there's a pattern. He often spoke about love, pain, and truth colliding. He didn't run from solitude. He transformed in it. That's the power of being alone. It purifies your spirit. You stop reacting to disrespect and start responding to your own needs. So when you see a woman sitting alone, focused, calm, and unbothered, understand that she's not lonely. She's protecting her peace. She's seeing what fake love does to the soul, and she refuses to let it touch her again. That's not coldness. That's wisdom. If you ever find yourself in that same space, don't rush out of it. Stay there. Heal. There. Build there. Because the love that's meant for you will never demand you to lose yourself to be accepted. And when you finally emerge from that solitude, you'll realize you didn't lose anyone. You only lost the illusion that they were ever truly with you. The calm of solitude is not weakness. It's power disguised as peace. Just because you lost me doesn't mean you'll find someone better. That line cuts deep, not out of pride, but out of truth. It's a reminder that real love, real loyalty, and real energy aren't easily replaced. When someone chooses peace over chaos, solitude over fake love, they're not losing, they're being reborn. Because sometimes walking away isn't about giving up on someone, it's about choosing yourself when no one else will. Let's talk about what this really means. In today's world, people take pure souls for granted. They get used to your kindness, your understanding, your effort, until you stop giving it. And when you finally decide to walk away, they realize they didn't just lose a person. They lost consistency, comfort, and peace. But by then, it's too late. That's the hidden strength behind this quote. The strength of knowing your value even after being broken. Imagine a woman who's been loyal through storms, always showing up, always forgiving, always believing in people who gave her half the love she gave them. One day she decides she's had enough, not with anger, not with revenge, but with silence. She packs her self-worth, her peace, and her dreams and walks out of spaces that no longer honor her. The same people who thought she'd always be there start to feel her absence like an echo. That's the moment they understand losing someone real is not something you recover from easily. Tupac lived this truth. Through fame and pain, he learned that loyalty can't be begged for. You either have people who stand with you or those who stand against you when it's inconvenient. He often gave his heart to the wrong ones, but every loss taught him that his spirit was irreplaceable. His experiences mirrored a painful but powerful lesson. When people take your light for granted, the best revenge is to let them miss your glow in the dark. Now, how does this apply to our lives today? Too many people are afraid of being alone because they think solitude means weakness. But solitude is where your soul upgrades. It's where your energy resets and your standards rise. You start realizing that not everyone deserves access to you. Your time, your loyalty, your love, they're sacred, and they should only be shared with people who see your worth without you having to remind them. When you walk away from people who couldn't appreciate you, don't look back with bitterness. Look back with gratitude. Because their absence created space for your growth. Their silence taught you how to listen to yourself. Their rejection redirected you to something better. Your peace, your purpose, your power. And the truth is, they will regret losing you. Not because you wish it, but because real love leaves an imprint that fake love can't replace. One day, they'll look at someone new and realize it's not the same. The way you understood their silence, the way you believed in their dreams, the way you gave without keeping score, that kind of love doesn't come twice. So when they try to come back, when they suddenly realize what you meant to them, don't take them back out of loneliness. Remember what it cost you to heal. Remember the nights you cried alone. Remember how hard it was to rebuild your confidence. Never trade your peace for familiarity again. Choosing not to return to what broke you isn't cruelty. It's self-respect. It's saying, I'm not the same person you walked away from. You've grown. You've learned. You become someone who no longer chases closure because your growth is your closure. So hold your head high. Let them watch you glow in silence. Because the ones who never truly valued, you will see the truth one day, not through your words, but through your peace, your success, and your unbothered energy. That's the power of walking away with dignity. You don't lose, you evolve. I'd rather be alone than surrounded by people who make me feel alone. There's a special kind of strength that comes from choosing peace over pretense. The world often tells women that being alone is something to fear, that solitude equals sadness. But the truth is, solitude is not loneliness, it's power. This quote captures the silent roar of a woman who has learned that fake love drains more than loneliness ever could. Think about how many people settle for relationships that only exist for appearances. They post pictures that look perfect, but behind closed doors, they feel invisible, they laugh in public, but cry in silence. That kind of love, the one that leaves you feeling unseen and unheard, is not love at all. It's emotional starvation disguised as connection. The power in choosing solitude is not about rejecting love. It's about rejecting fake love, saying, I'd rather walk this road by myself than pretend I'm happy with someone who doesn't value my soul. That's a kind of courage most people don't have, because it takes strength to walk away from comfort and face yourself in silence. But that silence, that's where your real voice begins to speak. If you look deeper into this message, you see the pain of someone who knew betrayal, who experienced what it means to give love and loyalty and get emptiness in return. It's the story of giving your all to people who don't even notice your worth. But once you go through that enough times, you stop begging for love and start building peace. That's what choosing solitude really means. It's not isolation, it's healing. In today's world, we confuse attention with affection. A woman who gets messages all day might still feel like no one truly understands her. We scroll through social media, surrounded by people's highlight reels, and yet feel lonelier than ever. But solitude, real solitude, teaches you that your worth doesn't depend on who texts you back. It depends on how deeply you love yourself when no one else does. When you sit in that quiet space, when it's just you, your thoughts and your truth, that's where growth begins. You start seeing patterns, you start healing from the love that hurts you, and you begin realizing that peace is worth more than companionship. Because peace is what allows you to build again, stronger, wiser, softer. Imagine a woman who once cried over people who ghosted her, over promises that were never kept. But one day she decides she's done chasing, done proving, done settling. She starts waking up early, working on her goals, reading, praying, creating, and protecting her energy. Slowly, she transforms her pain into power. That woman didn't lose anyone. She found herself. And that's the message here. Choosing solitude is not weakness, it's self-respect. It's choosing your sanity over chaos. It's the moment you stop waiting for someone to complete you and realize you were always whole. To every woman watching this, understand this truth: you don't need to apologize for wanting peace. You don't need to explain why you don't answer texts that drain you or why you'd rather stay home than go somewhere that feels fake. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. One day, the same people who made you feel alone will wonder how you found happiness without them. That's the beauty of solitude. It teaches you that you never needed them to begin with. You only needed yourself. That's the power of a woman who chooses solitude over fake love. She doesn't just survive, she rises. I know what good women go through. They love hard, they stay loyal, and in the end, they're the ones left broken. This quote carries the weight of generations of women who have given everything, their time, their love, their faith, to people who couldn't see their worth. It speaks for every woman who poured her heart into someone who wasn't ready to receive it, for every heart that kept giving even when it was running empty. But there's something powerful hidden inside this pain. A lesson about transformation, self-worth, and the rebirth that follows heartbreak. When you've loved deeply and been broken by it, you reach a point where you stop chasing people and start chasing peace. You stop begging to be understood and start understanding yourself. That's when the real growth begins. Because heartbreak, when faced with strength, doesn't destroy you. It reintroduces you to who you truly are. This message comes from a place of deep empathy for women who give too much. The ones who stay loyal even when the love turns cold. The ones who defend the wrong people because they believe in the goodness that's no longer there. But eventually, pain opens their eyes. And once a woman sees the truth, once she realizes she deserves the same love she gives, she becomes unstoppable. That's the turning point. When a woman decides she's done confusing loyalty with self-sacrifice. Loyalty is beautiful, but not when it costs you your peace. Too many women think staying through pain makes them strong, but real strength isn't in enduring disrespect. It's in walking away with your dignity intact. When a woman learns to walk away from what hurts her, she reclaims her power. She learns that love should never come with conditions that destroy her spirit. She learns that she can be soft, kind, and forgiving, and still set boundaries that protect her. That's not selfishness. That's survival. Today's generation needs to understand this more than ever. Social media glorifies ride or die loyalty, but real love shouldn't require you to die inside. The strongest women today are the ones who say, I can love you and still leave you if you're not right for me. That's maturity. That's evolution. There's something sacred about the moment a woman stops waiting for an apology that will never come and gives closure to herself. She doesn't cry to be understood anymore. She uses that energy to build her dreams, grow her faith, and rediscover her joy. That's when she transforms pain into purpose. Think about it. Every scar she carries becomes a symbol of survival. Every tear she shed becomes a seed that grows her wisdom. And one day, the same love that once broke her will inspire her to teach others how to heal. Because once a woman learns to love herself the way she used to love others, she becomes a light, fierce, radiant, unshakable. This quote reminds us that good women are not weak. They're warriors in disguise. They may bend, but they never break. And when they rise after heartbreak, they rise higher than before, softer, wiser, and more powerful. To every woman watching this, understand this truth. Your heart is your strength, not your weakness. Your love is sacred. But give it where it's valued, not where it's taken for granted. Because the woman who chooses to heal instead of hate, to grow instead of grieve, she becomes unstoppable. That's the power of a woman who chooses herself. Her solitude isn't emptiness. It's rebirth. And once she rises, nothing in this world can bring her back down. Conclusion, in the end, the power of a woman who chooses solitude over fake love is not just about walking away. It's about rising into your truest self. It's about realizing that peace is worth more than pretending and self-respect is worth more than attention. Every woman who has ever been betrayed, taken for granted, or left wondering if she was enough, this is your reminder you were always enough. You just gave your love to the wrong place. There's something divine about the calm that follows heartbreak. That silence after the storm isn't emptiness. It's healing. It's where you meet yourself again. When a woman chooses solitude, she's not giving up on love. She's learning what real love should feel like. She's cleansing her heart from what drained her and preparing it for something purer, something that matches her growth. Remember this. Solitude doesn't mean loneliness. It's the space where you rebuild your confidence, rediscover your dreams, and reconnect with your strength. The woman who embraces her peace becomes a magnet for everything that aligns with her soul. No longer chasing, no longer begging, just existing in power, grace, and purpose. So, if you've ever been broken, betrayed, or abandoned, take that pain and use it as fuel. Let your silence speak louder than your sorrow. Let your growth be your revenge. The moment you stop proving your worth to those who can't see it, you attract those who never make you question it. The truth is, when a woman chooses herself, she becomes untouchable. Her peace intimidates those who once thrived on her chaos. Her glow confuses those who expected her to stay broken. But she doesn't owe them an explanation. Her evolution is the answer. To every woman watching, stay loyal to your peace, stay devoted to your purpose, and never settle for half-hearted love. Because the moment you realize your energy is sacred, you'll stop wasting it on people who don't deserve access to it. That's the power of solitude. It doesn't isolate you, it elevates you. And from that quiet strength, you'll rise softer, wiser, and unstoppable. If this message spoke to your heart, take a deep breath and remember your peace is your power. Never trade it for fake love again.